No one in yet. Started 9 minutes early. Jesse, good. Hello, how are you? Welcome to the last live stream of the year. DL, how are you this evening? Jesse B, how are you? Brian Mons, what's up, my friend? I've got a Puckwudgie Lizzo story right for you tonight, my friend. Amanda, how are you? DB Mac, how are you? Nick Carroll. Robert, how are you? It is cold. It's 26 degrees in upstate. Actually, it was colder earlier. It might be colder. I don't know. Hang on. It was 13 degrees out like 2 hours ago. Let me see. Yeah, it's 12. I don't know if you guys can see it, but you guys can't see it. It's 12. 12 degrees in upstate New York. Lisa McDonald, how are you? Katie Starseed. Tina Brooke. Lisa Foy, how are you? Richard Minnick, how are you, buddy? Hollow. Marcy. Usually basements are colder, DL. Oh, thank you, Katie. Nightmare 74, what's up, my friend? Sonia, how are you? The week did pass by pretty quick. What's up, Harry? How are you, buddy? Aramik! My next two wishes, you answered all three of them, my friend. Life and Times, how are you? Gavin, what's going on, my friend? So I got some really good. I got this stack. I got this stack. I got some Lizzo stories. I got some 3 new books I wanted to share with you guys. I wanted to share with you my Christmas presents. Isabel, because of the Lizzo legacy, my daughter Isabel and her boyfriend centered their presents around Lizzo. Would you look at the size of this thing? How big is that? This thing is great. I love this thing. And then, because Saddam Hussein is always in a gimp suit, my daughter gives me this for Christmas. Oh my God. Oh. At least she's got a wonderful sense of humor. You know, 59th, how are you? Well, happy birthday, Robert Sharp. Pups, how are you? Sniff it out. Christy Strom, how are you? Wesley September, 61 weeks. There's Janie, Savage Lunatic, SDL, Wendy. Merry Christmas to everyone. Lake Superior, how are you? I know. This, I cannot believe this is the last live stream of the year. You know, like, holy shit. I'm kind of excited, kind of sad, don't know how to feel. I might do a live stream on New Year's Eve. Probably will, because I don't do anything anyway. So I couldn't on Christmas. I was so drained and just put out. So, really quick, share some books. I'll save the best for last. I talked about this guy and his story, Terry Lovelace, this week. The Devil's Den, incident at Devil's Den, about a triangular UFO he had seen, and he had a couple other things that went on, cryptid related as well. Linda Moulton Howe helped with this one book, and Linda. The book was featured on Earth Files with Linda Moulton Howe. And then he did a follow-up, The Reckoning, mainly based on his investigations of it. And then this book is so god darn hard to find, almost like the Solomon Island book, What's up, Matt? How are you, buddy? Rockin' steady. Joanne, how are you? So this book, if you guys can find this book, Caverns, Cauldrons, and Concealed Creatures. It is the pages. It is packed full of information, pictures, maps. And I've been looking for this book for a while. It's pretty pricey, but there's a third printing of it that you can pick up pretty cheap. But I wanted this cover. So Caverns, Cauldrons, and Concealed Creatures is the first book of its kind in terms of truly going in depth to examine the striking similarities between folklore, religious, mythic, New Age, fictional, and first-hand witness or historical accounts of cryptid and reptilian figures. Drawing from scientific facts, folklore, and comparative mythology, and anecdotal sources, it is demonstrable that the structure of our planet, the history of our species, the underlying truths disguised as our myths, legends, and folklore, and pop culture imagery are not quite what we have led to believe. The Earth itself is much more saturated and complex in structure than we have realized, and our species has perhaps experienced through the ages encounters and conflicts with others, non-human intelligence or beings of various types, who have seldom been our friends. Memories and accounts of these encounters have come down to us in the form of folklore and mythology, often viewed with superstitious terror or awe through conditioned lenses of religion, religious interpretation, or folk traditions. Such encounters are continuing today. It's written by a guy named Michael Mott. And it is so freaking amazing. 100% get it if you can. I don't know if it's on Amazon Kindle or not. What's up, Stargazer? How are you? Shut up your face. How are you, my friend? S. Cosman, how are you? 1000 Black, how are you? Nikola Tesla, how are you? Mr. Haunted, how are you, buddy? Abe's book has it, but it's expensive for this cover. The second or third printing is kind of a weird cover. I don't know if it's changed or not. I wanted this one because it's the first printing, and I actually found it brand new. And to me, a book is worth its weight in gold, I think. You know what I mean? Tina Marie Anderson, how are you? All right, so let's get this rolling tonight. 104 people, 37 likes. Come on, guys. Let's get those likes up. Delirium, how are you? Hopefully he'll be coming home on Monday or Tuesday. We think Tuesday. Weak, really weak. And we just really don't know yet. I'm praying for the best. So, but thank you, Delirium. All right. So, I mean, how cool is this? This thing's huge. So I named him. This guy's name's Jacob. And his best friend, Michael. Michael and Jacob. My daughter and her boyfriend are like just so amazing. Ryan, thank you. He should be considered a troll. A troll. I agree 100%, Ryan. All right, let's start this off with an interesting one here. This story takes place in 2014 in the northern part of rural South Carolina. I am absolutely sure where it happened. I drove this route many times during the year. Very dark, very rural, and this peculiar stretch of road does not have many houses. The incident happened not far from an old church also. No idea if it's relevant. I used to work at a tattoo shop and lived with the owner. Our route home took us through the area described. We'd usually get home fairly late. This night wasn't any different. In fairness, I will say I had smoked some pot earlier, but I am a heavy smoker and it doesn't affect me horribly. I don't believe the passenger had done any drugs or drank anything at all that day. We were driving home. I'm probably driving about 60 to 70 miles an hour. Didn't like to go too fast because of deer or wild hog running across the road. We are talking about something, no idea what. I am slightly glancing over to the right during the conversation, as one does when driving. I noticed something that seems to be running out of the woods. Not unusual, often see shit in the sides. However, I realize that it was still there at second glance, which causes me to look and see what in the world seems to be still moving beside a speeding vehicle. As I turn my head to look, this described as a very vague shape of four-legged wolf-looking creature, but without any definition, runs ahead of the car, goes across the road and into the woods. As it crossed the road, my high beam shone on it. It seemed to absorb the light. No visible fur, no reflection in the eyes. Nothing discernible beyond a sort of wolf-shaped blur that was literally the darkest black I had ever seen. This all happened in a span of 5 to 6 seconds, I'd guess. It startled me quite a bit, so I immediately said, "What the fuck was that?" "What did you see?" I reply with the above description, to which my friend goes very quiet and only tells his wife what I told him when we got home. I only says tell his wife what I told him when we got home. I tell her, her face drops, and she immediately looks shocked. Then they tell me my friend had seen it before with someone else who denied seeing it. Same area, same description. And he saw it too that night that I saw it. Same exact thing. I have looked online. I have read local Carolina legend. I have asked so many old timers if they had any idea what this was, and I cannot find anything very convincing. There was one experience that I had heard of a similar entity described as void black. One guy said maybe it's a forest spirit or something. It doesn't fit any black dog things I have read. Janie, thank you so much, dear. Thank you so much. What do you guys think on that one? Record Girl, how are you? What's poppin'? It was pooping. Maybe. The Black Void. No, I think when I first read it, I was like thinking Dogman along the lines of a Dogman. And then when he mentioned Black Dog, I was like, no, maybe a Hellhound. Maybe a Hellhound or something else. Zella, how are you? So I'm not really sure. But I liked it, and I thought it was pretty freaking creepy. Scott Lang, how are you? Maggie Mayhem, Beautiful Disaster, how are you? Hellhound, yes. Rockin' Steady, thank you so much. Guys, thank you very much. Nicole, how are you? No, I haven't. I'll look into it, though, SDL. What a, like, did you guys get any snow this week? We got hit pretty good. It's Aramik. I wore it before. We had the discussion a long time ago. It's from the Gorillas, the band The Gorillas. It's Pazuzu, but created in sticker form as kind of a joke. Strangely enough, last time I wore this t-shirt, Mr. Haunted, Simone, thank you so much. Mr. Haunted sent me a picture of him, and he's got a Pazuzu statue, and it was so weird. Thank you, Simone. Aramik, though, try to find this book. I know you'll love it. Well, it's just a band t-shirt. You know, like the Gorilla's name is right there. And it doesn't represent anything unless you want it to represent stuff. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. It was The Exorcist. Was it Mothman? It's not Mothman. The book is amazing. Delirium, thank you so much. I will listen to that tonight. When I got home last night, I was sitting there and I completely forgot. I started working on getting stuff ready for tonight. And then as I was getting ready for the live stream, I was like, Delirium's going to be in there tonight. And I haven't listened to that yet. I'm like, shit. I don't think Pazuzu and Zozo are the same things. I think they're different, but I might be wrong. I don't believe they are. Pops, thank you so much. Is Pazuzu and Zozo the same entity? Yes. Thank you very much. I did not know that.
A modern name or manifestation of Pazuzu, the ancient Mesopotamian wind demon. It's a popular, sometimes sinister.
Well, thank you. That's really freaking awesome. And Jimmy shares the picture again with me. Jager, thank you so much. I did give my mom and dad a hug for you, Pops. Well, Pazuzu is a demon. Pazuzu is a wind demon in Zozo or Zuzu, Zozo, whatever you want to say it. But I will never forget, and I've shared this story like in the very beginning of my channel. My Ouija boards experiences when I was growing up. We played with this Ouija board, my cousins. I was the youngest of the family, youngest of all my friends, actually. And when we played it one night, it kept spelling OZ, 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 OZ. And, we're just a bunch of metalhead dumbasses. And we were making jokes like, oh, it's Ozzy, like just being idiots. Years later, when the internet comes and people become informed, this was well before the internet happened. I put two and two together and I was like, holy shit. It was not spelling OZ, OZ, OZ. It was spelling ZOZOZO. Thank you, Turbo. Aerobic! Aramik, this one goes out to you and all of the memberships that you have gifted throughout this year. This one goes to you, Aramik. I'm not even sure if I'm explaining this right because I don't have the right words, but I'm going to try. I have 3 kids and they are pretty active. Last night, they asked to go outside in the yard, so I said yeah, and they headed back into the backyard. I had to go to the bathroom, so I had to walk past my boys' room to get to the bathroom. They had left the light on top of the dresser, which was against the wall shared with the bathroom wall. When I walked past the door, something big flew past the light, making a shadow that had wings. Not like a large bird or insect, but like those cartoon or drawings of demons, where they have like pointy edges in the flaps. It literally scared me so much I jumped back and hesitated, walking by the door. But I had heard some toys shift and the dresser being closed. There is no one else inside. My kids are outside with my husband, and I am alone, or was I? So I thought. We do not own a bird, and the TV is on in the opposite wall. So what the hell would have made that shadow? I walk into the room, and everything was normal looking, except my son's Gundams, which are these Japanese build-yourself toys of giant robots in various sizes. One that normally is up on the top shelf too high for my kids to reach was down on the dresser, away from the other 3. Now, normally, I would just assume that my son was fixing it or something, but it just didn't add up, as I had been inside doing laundry, putting clothes in the same damn dresser just minutes beforehand, and my son hadn't been in his room, and my other son cannot reach them and would break them if he grabbed it. When I got outside, I asked everyone if they had been moving the Gundams or fixing them, and instantly my oldest was concerned someone broke it and had to go and check, saying he hadn't touched it since we had put it on the top shelf. Now, when he returned from their room, he was annoyed asking me why I was making stuff up about the Gundams because they are all in their places. And I asked about the one on the dresser. And he said, no, you put it back just fine. Thank you for being gentle. I cannot reach that damn shelf without a chair or a step ladder, which neither of those things are in the room. So whatever moved that damn thing made me look crazy or like I was playing some kind of joke. So what the hell was in the room? And how was it big enough to cast a shadow that darkened the whole room? Maybe it was just my mind playing tricks. But my dog sure hell hadn't been in the room and couldn't do it. And both my boys slept in the living room last night, saying they kept hearing scraping and scratching noises on the wall behind the dresser. My sons range from a small one to a decent sized one. Nothing too big nothing too big cause he's not an expert level builder. So when I first read that, I was like, maybe something messed with the kids Gundam toy. But then I got to thinking, right? And I was like, maybe she didn't tell us that she looked in and checked on the Gundams that were on the top shelf, right? So what if in fact this was some sort of flying entity that landed on the dresser? She mistook for the Gundam, not looking up and seeing that all 3 or 4 were up there, walked out, and that was what she saw. Because I believe Gundams have like wings and shit. I think they're like Voltron looking things. So Randy Man, how are you? Yeah, I vaguely remember, like, I vaguely remember when I was a kid, they were on. I wasn't into the Gundam. I liked G-Force when I was little. That was my like Japanese animation show that I would watch. Damage, how are you? Karen Palmer, how are you? Mr. Poor, how are you? Robotech, yeah. G-Force was awesome. There's another name for it now, though. Some other kind of show. There was like 2 boys. Well, no, there was a leader who was like the good-looking guy, the girl who was like the good-looking girl, a chubby dude, and a really goofy-looking guy. And they wore like these like kind of beak suits. And they flew in this really sick-ass jet. They had cool stuff. All right. Does anyone know what time it is? G-Force was the greatest cartoon ever. Voltron was good too. Not vodka 30 life and times. It is Lizzo time. Brian Mons, this one goes out to you and your puckwudgie problems. I hope you've been using some sort of lotion. Silverhawks, holy shit, haven't heard that one in a while. The neon sign above the diner flickered like a dying firefly, casting a pinkish orange glow over the cracked asphalt of 117 Truck Stop. It read, Big Bertha's all-night biscuits and burlesque, though most folks just called it Lizzo's place, since she had taken over 5 years ago. The food was greasy, the coffee was strong enough to revive the dead, and the staff could throw a mean left hook if you got handsy. But the real draw, Lizzo. Lizzo wasn't her real name. Her birth certificate said Latrice Deshandra Jenkins. But after a viral TikTok of her going lip-syncing The Truth Hurts while wielding a tire iron during a brawl with a disrespectful long hauler, the name stuck. At 6'2", with a frame like a linebacker and a smile that could melt a snowbank, Lizzo ruled this corner of the world with glitter, grit, and an unshakable devotion to justice, trucker justice. Tonight, the air was thick with a tang of fryer grease and the distant smell of rotting vegetation from the old cranberry bog, a once thriving harvest site turned swampy nightmare after a failed agricultural project in the 80s. The bog now bubbled with methane, emitting ghostly green fumes, and was allegedly home of the Puckwudgies. Now most people wouldn't believe in the Puckwudgies. 3 foot tall, pointy eared troll like creatures with hot pink mohawks and a taste for kidnapping truckers with weak chakras. But Lizzo wasn't most people. She learned the hard way. It was last mischief night when they had struck, crept out of the bog like fumes from toxic dreams, snatched Earl, her most loyal friend and occasional ex boyfriend, when he remembered his meds, right out of the grease pit where he was wrestling a clogged drain. They took him deep into the bog, brainwashed him with some fermented cranberry mash and cursed harmonica music, and crowned him King Earl the Muddled. For 3 days, the truck stop operated on a strict regiment of dance and raw beats. Lizzo ended it with a flamethrower and a tub of ranch dressing and a karaoke rendition of Juice. So powerful it shook the bog's very foundation. Earl was freed, though he now had an odd fondness for interpretive rain sticks and a twitch whenever he heard the word autumn. But tonight was different. Tonight, revenge crackled in the air, along with the occasional kaboom. The parking lot had been cleared, cones marked the boundaries, a line of red Solo cups held warm beer, a boombox played Lizzo's greatest hits on shuffle, and in the center of it all, cornhole boards. But these weren't your average tailgate throwers. No, these were grenade hole boards, Lizzo's latest innovation, part game, part gladiator combat sport. Used live MK2 hand grenades with pulled pins. Players stood 20 feet back, lobbed the grenades, and aimed for the hole. If it landed in the hole before detonating, you got 3 points. If it exploded midair over the board, 2 points. And if it blew up in your hand, well, that was just another Tuesday. Come on, Fat Tony, Lizzo bellowed, adjusting her leopard print visor. You throw like my grandma after a cardiac surgery. Tony, a 300-pound man with a ZZ Top beard and a heart murmur, heaved a grenade like a shot put. It arced beautifully, then detonated directly over the board, sending wood shrapnel flying. Everyone ducked. A seagull dropped from the sky. 2 points, shouted Carl, the one-eyed bartender, marking it down. Lizzo clapped. Pathetic. Watch and learn. She grabbed a grenade, kissed it like it was her firstborn, and spun in a slow circle. The crowd hushed. She stopped, tossed it underhand. The grenade rolled smoothly. Plop, right in the hole. Silence, then kabloom. The board exploded into a fireball. The concussion wave knocked over a stack of tires. 3 points. The crowd erupted. Lizzo did her signature wig flip and struck a pose. That's how you play power, honey. But then silence. Not the happy silence after a good explosion, the bad silence, the kind that settles when something ancient and pink-haired begins to stir. From the edge of the bog where the trees leaned like drunken sentinels and the water bubbled with gas of questionable origin, came a low, gurgling sound, like a toilet flush that seemed too much. Then voices. We have returned, shrieked the high-pitched, nasally choir. And this time we are taking the whole damn diner. Out they came, the Puckwudgies. 3 feet tall, bat-eared, clad in loincloths made of old trucker hats, each with a perfect hot pink mohawk that defied both gravity and the swamp's humidity. They carried spears tipped with something that glistened like antifreeze and hatred. Lizzo adjusted her shoulder pads. Oh, good. The hairdresser convention is here. Earl, now wearing a tactical vest over his apron and brandishing a grenade like it was a salt shaker, stepped forward. Lizzo, they brainwashed me. Made me recite poetry about the soul of rutabaga. I haven't forgiven them. I know, baby, she said, patting his cheek, but tonight they answer to us. The Puckwudgies advanced, chanting in unison. Earl is ours, the bog is ours, give us biscuits and control the Wi-Fi. One particular feisty Puckwudgie He had a tiny leather jacket and a name tag that read Glenn. Threw a poisoned spear. It zipped past Lizzo's ear and embedded in the open sign, which immediately began to melt. Okay, Lizzo said, game face on. She didn't scream. She didn't panic. She simply turned to her crew, the waitress, the line cooks, the retired wrestler who worked the fryer on Tuesdays, and said, boys and non-binary beauties, bring out the special grenades. From beneath the counter, Carl produced a cooler marked with do not open, Lizzo's anger. Inside, grenades wrapped in glitter, duct tape, and what looked suspiciously like a page from a restraining order. These, Lizzo said, are filled with chili powder, wasp venom, and regrets of men who ghosted me. Earl lit the fuse on a modified M79 grenade launcher he had built from spare parts and a coffee thermos. I call this baby sweet revenge, the Puckwudgies charged, cackling, their tiny legs churning through the muck. Lizzo lobbed the first glitter grenade. It sailed through the air like a disco comet, then exploded mid-flight. A cloud of crimson smoke burst, laced with chili dust. The front line of the Puckwudgies inhaled and immediately began to sneeze so hard they launched into the air like pink two-feet cannonballs. One landed in the porta potty, the other was. Earl fired sweet revenge. The grenade spiraled, hit the bog surface, detonated with a force of 1,000 angry Yelp reviews. A shockwave rippled through the swamp. The water boiled, frogs flew, a raccoon was seen midair, clutching a half-eaten donut and screaming. The Puckwudgies faltered. Fall that! Shrieked Glenn. We aren't prepared for this warfare. They turned to flee, slipping in the mud, tripping over roots, and screaming in high-pitched terror. All but one, a smaller Puckwudgie, slightly chubbier, with a nervous twitch and a glittery sash that read, This Year's King, stumbled, fell into a puddle, and looked up just as Lizzo loomed over him, grenade in one hand, a spiked dog collar on the other. Well, well, she purred, if it isn't King Tootie. Heard you were elected on the platform of mandatory naps and cranberry popsicles, Tootie whimpered. We just wanted Earl back. He was a good king. He knew all the harmonic songs. Lizzo crouched down. Earl doesn't want your kingship. He does want hash browns, though, and now you're going to do time. She snapped the collar around his scrawny neck. It beeped twice, then glowed a calming lavender. GPS tracking, she explained. And it dispenses anti-brainwashing vitamins. Also, it plays affirmations. You are enough. You are loved. You are not a tax write-off. Tootie sniffled. Can I still have a popsicle? Only if you clean the fryer, Earl approached, looking down at his former captor. You made me wear leotards, Tootie. Leotards made of netting. I thought you looked regal, Tootie protested. Lizzo's hands clapped. All right, night's over. Someone's got to get the fire extinguisher. Fat Tony's on fire again. By dawn, the truck stop was quiet. The cornhole boards rebuilt. The bog gurgled apologetically. And in the back booth, Earl served Lizzo a plate of extra crispy tater tots, while King Tootie swept the floor in a tiny uniform and a cone hat that read, I love Bertha. As the sun rose over the swamp, Lizzo sipped her coffee and watched the horizon. You think they'll come back? Earl asked. She smirked. Oh, that when they do, tell the boys to load the rainbow grenades. Earl nodded. The ones filled with glitter and passive aggression? Mm-hmm. Maybe a subpoena. She took a bite of the tot, sighed happily, and patted Tootie on the head. Welcome to the team, little tyrant. And somewhere deep in the bog, a harmonica played a sad tune about rutabagas. But no one was listening. Not anymore. A Dogman being hunted down. I don't really know. The government does it. Thank you, Rosie. I'm working on t-shirts. Jager. Jordan Stevens, how are you? That was a little longer one. He's just a troll, Amanda. He's just a troll. Don't worry. No, I didn't, to be honest with you. Shut up your face. I'll listen to it tonight, though. No, Matt Torrance, I don't drink. And if you're going to troll it, I'll just block you right now. Here you go. My mod should have, but I'll do it. Oh, Janie beat me. Thank you, Janie. I looked at it. I read the top part, the Tazwell thing, and I was like, And I instantly thought of DJ, and I was like, I got to listen to this. But with literally the holidays and my dad and everything, I was like, shit. Black-eyed peas and cabbage. Dang. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oh. Last year during the fall, I went camping in Pilot Knoll Park, which is in Texas. I went to bed at around 11:30 and woke up about 2 hours later at around 2:25 because I had to go to the bathroom. On my way back, I heard a noise and looked around. I saw a creature squatting on a tree branch. From a quick glimpse, I saw that it had reddish eyes and was dark in color. I was so scared that I ran back to my tent and stayed still until I fell asleep. When I woke up, myself and my friends packed up and left. I've seen it twice after this experience. Once in the forest near my house, where it was standing in the distance, I saw it upright with its head hunched over, and once more at Pilot Knoll again, where I noticed it had 2 claws in each hand and foot. My friend claims that he saw it once when hunting, where he claimed it had hung around his truck. He says he saw 2 thin things protruding from the top of its head. Me and my friend started calling it the red-eyed man, also the Knoll man. That's all I have seen of this thing and all I know. I don't know if it had feathers, fur, scales. I don't know if it had sharp teeth or flat teeth. If you know anything about this creature or have seen it, please let me know. I've tried kimchi once. I like sauerkraut. Sauerkraut is something fierce. I love a good sauerkraut. But kimchi is a little bit too much for me. I didn't get your email, Amanda. Email me now during the live stream so I can tell you that I got it. I'll check right now. Hang on. I got Johnny Sumner, but not your email. So if I do a live stream on New Year's Eve, should we start at 11 and go to 1? Would that be good? Start at 11 and go to 1? I'm asking you, Aramek. I'm doing it for you guys and me. I don't have anything else to do. I don't do anything. I was thinking that we could just spend the New Year's together, welcome in the new year. Right at like 11:58, start a Lizzo story, have Lizzo walk in the new year. All right, that's what we'll do. Why are you wearing that? Because I like the Gorillas. Because it's a band shirt. That's why I'm wearing it. Plus, I'm an adult and I can wear anything I want. I'm retired now. I support you. Aramek, your new job is to be Jeff's supporter. That's what we'll do. That's what I was going to do. Spend it alone. All right. What's up, Jason? How are you? I'm sorry for my English. It is from when I was little, I started to see what seems like a white creature with yellow eyes. I could see this thing when I was at my grandma's house in the city when it was night and I was taking a walk or even in my corridor at home a few seconds with the corner of my eyes. This thing was tall and it always smiled. It appeared even in my sleep paralysis, nightmares, lucid dreams, and even what I call peaceful dreams. When I was little, I was staying at my grandma's house every summer. And at the age of 4 or 5, I started seeing things, but not something, wow, just little shaped glowing. And then they randomly disappeared. And I could hear voices like they were in a place with an echo. I didn't give them too much attention, but then it appeared and it freaked me out. It was night. I know it was past 12 a.m. and I was at my grandma's room watching TV with her because I didn't have one in my room. There were 3 houses in the same yard at all hours. The refrigerator was in the other house, so I went to grab ice cream, but I froze just before I entered that house because I heard something breathe. My dogs were not there, they were in my grandma's house. I started to cry instantly, and I looked to the right side to see what it was. It was staring at me with a big smile, showing me its jagged teeth and yellow eyes. It was much taller than I. It didn't harm me. After a few seconds, it just started to walk in the backyard, and I couldn't see it anymore because it was too dark. I forgot about the ice cream and ran back to the house. I told my grandparents, and they didn't believe me. I told my parents and they didn't believe me. I told my grandma that night too, and she just stared at me in shock and told me to go to sleep. After this encounter, I started seeing it, but in real life, not for so many times as I see it in my dreams. If someone can tell me what this thing is, or if someone encountered it, then I heard growls where my grandma lives. There are rumors about ghosts, a witch, and something like a big black dog. I mentioned nobody will go into the house after 12 a.m. because of these rumors. At the age of 13, I was at my grandma's house with my cousin playing Don't Get Angry, Brother, and he had a brilliant idea to go out into the empty street just because he was ready to show me the rumors were fake. Like a stupid kid I was, I went with him, and we took a walk. We were on the street for a while, but we were also tired, so we decided to go back, just laughing at me because I was scared of those obvious fake rumors who were meant to keep us inside and be good kids. On our way back, we saw a dog. My cousin thought it was a wolf, but I started shaking because I sensed something bad, and I was thinking wolves go in packs, right? That's what my teacher told us. So why was this one alone? We froze when he turned at us. It was so big, its eyes were black. We stood there for a few minutes, but they seemed like hours. It was staring at us, and we were staring back. I was ready to run if it was going to move towards us, and then it vanished. It didn't walk in another direction. It didn't run. It just vanished while we were staring at it. But not like it got invisible, just darker, like it was fading. We couldn't see it anymore. We got back to my grandma's and we told them. Then she told us a story about my granddad. He encountered the dog too, but he was in his car, and the dog just appeared out of nowhere and started running after him. But my grandma told us, he said the dog was running awkwardly, kind of like a human does, but yes, it had 4 legs. When Grandpa was near the house, the dog just vanished. My problem here is, after I saw it, I started hearing random growls when there were no dogs near me, even in the house or at my boyfriend's house now. I hear them 2 or 3 times a year, and if my boyfriend is around, he is hearing them as well. Those growls sound like packs of big dogs who are growling at the same time, but they sound so intense. I'm looking for information on what this could be. My parents don't believe me, but my grandmother seems to. Thank you. What's up, Gary? How are you? Robert Sharp, happy birthday, brother. Happy New Year to you, Jay Cortez. Just a jewel. Just a jewel. What, a hoodie of the Gorillas t-shirt that I'm wearing, Jason? Thank you, Maggie Mayhem. Thank you, Jay Cortez. I have a jewel. I found the jewel 2 from England. And in England, they sell jewel 2s that have mango flavored, but they only sell them in England. Thank you, Gary. Robert Sharp, have a nice night, brother, and happy birthday. Eunice, how are you? Gnomes? Not really sure, Janie. Maybe a gnome. I heard they were making them illegal in Australia. You have to have a prescription now. Tina, I love you. Let me check and see if Amanda emailed me. That's weird because I didn't get her email. Let me check see if it got in my spam. Nothing in spam either. That's so weird. Um, I don't think they hunt. I don't think they hunt Bigfoot like you're thinking. I think they I they don't live peacefully. Um, but I think they kind of live together in the woods, I guess. I mean, Dogman is not the strongest thing in the woods. That's for sure. I remember when I started this channel 8 years ago, and I was like obsessed with Dogman. I thought Dogman literally was the strongest thing on earth. Like nothing could kill it. Obviously, I was wrong, uh, and I believe that there are more sinister things out there than Dogman by far. By far. And I really believe that the modern day Dogman now is a direct descendant of the Cynocephaly, which like they lived amongst humans at one point. So yes, Jager, and smarter, and smarter. Danny Barnett, how are you? um, I that's a big dog, man. I mean that's an 800-pound dog, man. That's really big. Um, I've not really heard too many stories on an 800-pound dog, man, except on creepy pastas. But I mean, Bigfoots are somewhere around 600 to 700 pounds, you know. But I don't know. I'm not an expert either. No one is. George, actually, yeah, I don't know. I've never heard of an 800-pound dog, man. Um, George, I did this upload the other night, and I came to the conclusion. Uh, so remember the upload that I did? The guy shared about him and his son hiking near the China Lake Naval Base in California, and they had seen these crawler-like creatures in the woods. And a military team come and round them up. Well, I was doing this upload the other night, and in the upload, my brain just shut off. Michael Prince talks about how in China Lake they do experimentation on children, abducted women and men, but mainly children. And I was like, holy shit, thinking about how they were doing these genetic experimentation and the reptilians and the grays, that would make like a perfect, it would make almost like a perfect test study if they were to take and mold a child into one of these creatures. Like in Dulce, where they talk about on level 6, women producing offspring and being like these humongous milking cows, other kinds of creatures all throughout that level. So I was like, maybe that's it. I don't know. China Lake is in California. Yeah, you're right. George, I think it's easier for them to kidnap. It was if you look for, hang on, I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you right now, buddy. Content, view all. It was yesterday. Friday's upload title is CIA MI6 classified information. CIA MI6 classified information. China Lake is where all that strange shit happens. It's the largest naval installation, right? And it's in the middle of a fucking desert in California. That's like jumbo shrimp. It makes no fucking sense. You know, it's like, what you think naval institutions or, you know, installations are going to be by water. They do not. It just, Truth Quest, how are you? I can see you. I just saw you. Tony, how are you? It's going by fast though. It is. And there's deep underground bases there as well. Jeb Smith, how are you, buddy? I wouldn't say documentary. I would say disclosure. The chat is moving fast. On China Lake. And it's weird because that whole an earthquake that pretty much destroyed the whole base. And they made amazing weapons there, like just fucking crazy weapons. Tigger is doing better. Tigger's urinary tract stone passed. I agree, Johnny Ohm. Hey, Mr. Wiener. Oh my God, that's good. Thank you, Aramic. Yeah, they definitely can. I mean, if you really think, they don't even need any kind of, they can just build a sub underground and use one of the tunnels that are underground and shoot it right to the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic, wherever they want. I needed a good dad joke tonight. Thank you, B. Love. I'm just going to call you 1028. Thank you, 1028. What's up, Hercules? How are you, buddy? Norman Comics. Thank you, Key West. Every 2 minutes. Thank you, September. All right. I've been hearing things lately. She lives in an older apartment building, and the other day she thought her dog was sitting in the kennel. Her dog then walked up beside her in the kitchen, so she quickly glanced over and saw a small humanoid black creature crouched in the dog cage. Best way to describe it without showing it sitting as a bullfrog would. Best way to describe it without showing it is sitting as a bullfrog would. Leading up to this, she had been seeing things out of her peripheral, small black figures moving away from her field of view. This happened quite a few times. The other day, she had a seizure in the middle of a store. Ever since, the sightings have gotten worse. She was at work the other day and caught a glimpse of the same creature crouching outside of her building. She looked away to set something down, turned back to get a better look. When she saw it again, it was standing there looking at her. She said it was approximately 5 to 6 feet tall standing. Leaving work, she felt like she was being followed. She looked behind her and saw the creature again, and it was following her. A police officer patrols the parking lot and asked if she was okay because he saw how shaky she was. He never saw anyone following her. A few days later, she went to use the shower. As she was getting out, someone knocked on the door. She does have a roommate, but her roommate knew she was using the shower for the moment. As she approached the door, the raps sped up until she grabbed the handle to open it and it stopped. She confronted her roommate and she acted like she had no idea what happened. That is the gist of what has been going on. She has had a few other things, such as LED string lights ripped down and slung across the opposite side of the room, or her Virgin Mary necklace ripped off while she was sleeping, broken by the chain not to clasp, and laid out on her bed. It was laid out in a way that it looked intentional. Any idea what this could be? Looked at several things, but nothing seems to fit. She said the same creature, she says she sees the same creature every time. She said she cannot make out too many details about its physical characteristics, but she did say it was black, human height, humanoid. When it's crouched, it resembles a human crouching, but when it's standing, she's a hard time making out its arms and legs. Demon. No, delirium is very sick. Simone, we'll be waiting. Especially like my view on that is the Roosevelt Hotel, yeah. My view is it followed her outside of her house, right? And it was like making itself known. Um I mean, I think, yeah, a demon of some sort. I don't think, like, I'm not sure because I'm not an expert on any fields, but I don't believe poltergeist can do that. So I would say some sort of demon of some sort. Yeah. Yes, Samara. I did get Amanda's email, and I got Eddie. Made me think sending emails has because I got Eddie's email. So I just got Eddie and Amanda's. I don't know if that was Norman Comics or not. MJ Bates, how are you, big dog? How are you? See, I don't know how I feel. I believe in demons because there's got to be a good. There's a good to a bad, you know. But I also don't believe demons are demons in the way that like the normal ways. Arabic. Thank you, my brother. I don't believe that demons are what we are told they are. I think they are like an alien creature or demonic alien. I think they're an alien and demon. I think are the same thing. I think they're interdimensional, and I think they travel through dimensions and stuff like that. That's just my own. Shauna, send me the experience. I'd like to hear it. Karen, have a good night and Happy New Year. There's got to be a good and a bad, you know, a yin and a yang. But I believe that. I mean, I don't know. I'm coming to terms with different things lately. Delirium, you are always in my prayers. Every night I pray for you, just to let you know, my friend. The Luxor. The Luxor is haunted as well, I think. Is that what you guys are talking about? Delirium's young, too. Delirium is young. That sounds good. Yes, I did get it, Amanda. Aw, Turbo. Andy Davis, what's up, brother? Tyler, what's up? Oh. Tyler 420 is in the house. In 1 minute, DB Mac. I'm trying to think of a good song. What time is it? You know what? I got a good song. Because $20 is $20. There you go, DB Mac. And it was not the YMCA. Oh my God! Fucking Kathy Hayes got it! Kathy Hayes got it. And Beautiful Disaster. The right fucking stuff, baby. I got it before her. Oh, has anyone ever answered you yet? No, it's I literally have, I'm the only one family home here. You know what I mean? Like, what are they gonna do? Come knock at my door, fucking get answered with my freaking Caltech in my hand. Hi, how are you, crackhead? Did Papa really get it before everybody? I gotta see. Oh shit, he did. Shit. Good stuff. I see that. You gotta pound him down fast, right, Damage? Not good, Dandy Davis. There was three. I'll have to learn some like Barry Manilow songs for you guys. My daughter and her boyfriend. Look at that fucking thing. And then you got Michael. Fucking Michael. I love the Ramones. The Ramones are great. Actually, I have one of my favorite piece of artwork that I own is an Andrew Bourdain picture. It's a print, one of 50, that's autographed by him. He's wearing a Ramone t-shirt with a leather jacket, smoking a cigarette outside of his New York City restaurant 10 years before he died. If I fucking love Andrew Bourdain. Rancid. I like Rancid. I like, my favorite punk band is Bad Brains. I like Bad Brains. I guess the Ramones. Exploited was good. I'm trying to think of that other group that I liked when I was younger. My fucking brain just shut off. Aramik is old as balls. Like 15th to the last show they ever played. That's awesome, Stargazer. I don't know who Sean Lane is. Who is it, and why am I thanking you? Butthole Surfers, yes. Justin, thank you. Or Justice, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Jane's Addiction is amazing. I love Jane's Addiction. Their first band, Psycom. Have you ever heard of their first band called Psycom? Holy shit, great band. It's Perry Farrell, and Perkins. Psycom is like it's almost like Depeche Mode met Jane's Addiction. And I have it on vinyl downstairs. It's probably one of my strangest albums that I own. Hard to explain. Really good. Really good. They're it's let me see if I'll quickly play something from them. And it's spelled like psyop, like psycom. Thank you, Justice. You'll know it's Perry once they start singing. It's really good band. Kind of hard to explain. Arabic, you're going to bed, buddy? I wanted to dance. I wanted to be like, do a little fucking weird dance. Start shaking. That sounds awesome, Wesley. Perry Farrell is so weird, man. He's just fucking great. Do an interpretive dance? No. No. I never got into Dropkick Murphys. I didn't get into them. For some reason, I couldn't. Very Depeche Mode, right? Yeah, I love Depeche Mode. Depeche Mode. I love The Cure. Duran Duran is good. I loved Duran Duran when I was a kid. Interpretive puckwudgie dance. They have Rockin' Steady. They have. Actually, they just put out there's a vinyl that they put out with their 2 new songs. Jane's Addiction put out 2 new songs. They were working on an album, and Perry Farrell got all fucked up on stage, went after fucking Dave Navarro. What's your favorite vinyl? Who's your favorite vinyl you have? Right now, I have my favorite. I don't know. I have a very big collection. the band called Three Teeth, the lead singer Lex, sent me a test printing of one of their albums, and then he sent me an autographed album. Probably one. Fuck. My Three Teeth album, Psycom, my original Rocky Horror Picture Show from 1975. Probably one of my Ecstasy. Yeah, I've heard them. Yeah. Not a big fan of them. No, he didn't, Bell. No, he didn't. He didn't. That was my daughter joking. He didn't. All right. I'll talk to you when you get home, buddy. Papa Gregorio. No. I love you too. Caleb won $110, not the car. Good job, buddy. Caleb, this one's for you. Shut up. All right. You know what? Let's do a Lizzo story. It is Lizzo time. Tim Curry. Actually, you know what? Truth Quest, I'll tell you something. I just went to for Halloween, I went to a showing of the Rocky Horror Picture Show on in 20 something years. And well, it was before I got married. When I met my ex-wife, I kind of lost my whole life. My life just, then I had my kids and everything was great. But, you know, I stopped doing stuff that I liked doing when I was married. But I went to the Rocky Horror Picture Show up until I met my ex-wife. And then I stopped going. And then I just went this year. And they did such an amazing job at the Salem Theater because they took liberties on it. They didn't deviate too far off. You still could yell at Brad and everybody, and you still threw the rice and squirted squirt guns and had the newspapers, but there was just differences in it, and it was so good. All right, here we go. I love I don't know why they would. There'd be so much, I don't know. All right. In the heart of New Mexico's desert, where the sun bleached the earth and the stars burned like neon signs, sat the Golden Arrow, a truck stop diner that time had forgotten. It was a place where semis roared like dragons, hashish cigars hung in the air, and the only thing greasier than the food was the gossip. And at its head, a woman with scales. Lizzo, the lot lizard queen of the truck stop prostitutes, wasn't your average reptilian overlord. At 6 foot of scaly, silver-armored human lizard hybrid, she ruled with a mix of charm teeth and a penchant for neon pink nail polish. Her loyal boyfriend, Earl Big E McRandy, A hulking trucker with a heart as soft as his sleeper cabin's mattress adored her enough to pretend her face every time she paced. The lot lizards, her scaled underlings, helped her run the diner, flirt with long haul truckers, and keep the peace. The truckers, well, they knew better to cause any trouble when the waitresses had their tongues sharp enough to peel paint and tipsy secrets. Life was good until the night the earth threw itself into a tantrum. It started with a shake, not just a subtle tremor of a coyote in the dirt, but a full bodied roar of an earthquake, the kind that made coffee cups do the moonwalk. The diner's jukebox screeched on the road again at a pitch that made everyone wince. And then a gurgle. The floor split like an overripe melon, spewing dust, rocks, and something that shouldn't exist. The sound came first. It was a squawk so high pitched it felt like a cactus being murdered. Then the chicken. It was the size of a dump truck made of black rubber that gleamed like oil. Its beak snapped open, revealing a foot-long gullet. It squawked again. The sound echoed like a chainsaw through a kazoo and took a bite out of the diner's jukebox. The machine exploded in confetti and sparks and lyrics. What in the 7 levels of diesel hell is that? Earl bellowed, grabbing his CB microphone like a weapon. Lizzo's emerald eyes narrowed. Earl, honey, grab my purse, now. The rubber chicken wasn't picky. It ate truckers' hats, waitresses' barrette, and half of Earl's fried pickup, literally. The lot lizards hissed and hissed, but their venom just bounced off the rubber beaks. Silk hide. All right, bitch, you want war? Lizzo growled, slapping her purse onto the diner's vinyl countertop. She yanked out a flask of tequila, chugged it, and spat out a neon green fire that singed the chicken's right toe. The beast squawked, wobbled, and tried to chomp at her, but Lizzo flipped into its beak like a parkour assassin, her tail lashing like a whip. The truck stop turned into a battlefield. Truckers rammed the chicken with their rigs, only for it to bounce off like a bowling ball hitting a duffel bag. The lot lizard swung spatulas, speckled plates like armor, and one particular creative gal chucked a stack of pancakes at its eyes. Burn, you greasy son bitch! Earl, meanwhile, had rigged a slingshot from the truck's springs and a trucker's belt, pelting it with jalapeno poppers. I call this one Texas Thunder. But the chicken, it just kept squawking, growing angrier and hungrier. Lizzo knew they needed a plan. Rubber, after all, had one trick. It melts. She barked orders to her lot lizards, who scrambled to the diner's deep fryer. We're going to give this son of a bitch a new look, she said, grinning, while Earl distracted the chicken with a fire extinguisher and a war cry that sounded suspiciously like I'm not tired yet. Lizzo coiled her tail around the beast's legs and yanked it into the fryer. The chicken squawked a final ear-splitting note as it sank into the 400-degree oil. There was a sizzle, a pop, and then silence, except for the smell of burnt rubber. The next morning, the truck stop was a crater of crispy feathers, fried furry, but Lizzo stood victorious. Her scales shimmered in a greasy pride. She patted Earl's head, then gestured to the melted remains in the fryer. You know what that looks like, don't you, Big E? Earl blinked like a pile of trash. Lizzo smirked. No, it looks like the biggest black rubber donkey wiener either of us had ever seen. And she winked. You in? Earl, still recovering from the battle trauma, grinned. Mama, I'm always in. And so, as the desert sun swept over the mountains, Lizzo and Earl hauled that wobbly 3-foot thick rubber relic into the sleeper cabin. The lot lizards whispered rumors for weeks. I heard it's got squeaky potential. Bet it's lasts longer than Big Dave's marriage. As for the chicken, well, some say if you park long enough at the Golden Arrow, you'll hear a final squawk in the wind. But then again, it could just be Earl laughing. They turned it into a big wiener. I already did it, Andy Davis. I tried to get it. I tried to get it a little better, like at the end. Well clipped. But I don't know. It was kind of hard. I didn't want to be like blatant with it and be like Lizzo and Earl turned it into a big rubber dildo and went into Earl's truck and used it on each other. That's pretty much what it was supposed to be like, but all right, here we go. All right, let me start out by saying that I have had a run in with a fair share. I get excited when I do the Lizzo stories for some reason. So I got to slow down. Let me start out by saying that I've had my run in with a fair share of ghosts and inhuman spirits, but this one took the cake. 5 years ago, I was on a ghost hunt at a cemetery in my hometown. It was a small one and hadn't really been visited by researchers because of its location. It sat back off the highway in a rural area of the county. I didn't know it was there until we went there for the first night. We began the investigation with 5 of us doing an EVP session at the beginning of the graves. I got a small cold chill and turned around. I only saw it for a split second, but there was a man sitting on the step at the foot of the grave dressed like he was straight out of Grease, even down to the pack of cigarettes rolled in his sleeve. After that, we split into teams and split up. Myself and another guy on a team stayed at the bottom while the others went towards the back of the cemetery. We started another EVP session. I started to provoke for a response. My exact words were, I don't care what you say. You could say ooga booga booga for all I care. Just say something, or I will just keep standing here all night. About that time, I saw a shadow in the wooded area rise off the forest floor and form a ball and shoot back into the woods like a rocket. We did not pursue the shadow that night because we were unfamiliar with the area and it was pitch black and we didn't have our flashlights. We finished up the night after I got that feeling of dread and started to run toward the car. We got away from that area and almost to the car and started to listen to the EVP recording on the device. The last thing the team member said on the recording was drowned out by a strange voice that said, "Leave now," almost yelling it into the recorder. So we took our leave for the night. We got back and started to listen to the recording I had done. When I said, I don't care if you say ooga booga booga, There was a whisper of the voice saying ooga booga booga. There were a few more things found on the recorder, but they were unintelligible. The second time I went there, it was with my wife and youngest son. I wanted to see what was in the woods where I saw that shadow ball, so I went during the day. When I went into the woods, I found more graves that seemed to be caved in due to age and tree growth, about 50 or so that we didn't see before. Terry, and sat down to meditate and got a sense for this place and just kind of felt it out. I didn't have any equipment with me, but I decided to try and talk to whatever was there that first night and see if it could manifest or move something. Well, this is where it got weird. I saw a manifestation, all right, but it was more like a man that had a golden skin wearing a loincloth and a head of a bull, just like a minotaur from the Greek mythology. I have never seen or heard anything else like this happening. He told me, "Get out, this is my place." So I stood up and we left. I've never been back since. I know it was an inhuman spirit, but it didn't feel evil, just angry, protective, and territorial. It didn't feel like a demon either. I have been face to face with those before, and this was completely different. Anyway, thank you for allowing me to share this. Janie, good night. Paul Carlisle, how are you? That's creepy, Turbo Christ. I kind of agree, Truth Quest, about the Malik, but he said it was not almost demonic. He said that it was almost like protective. So, but that's also weird because it was an early American cemetery. So why would something from Greek mythology be there? Just a weird thing. Do you need my email address, Tony? Yeah, it wasn't a Dogman though, because it was a man in a loincloth. So I don't know. It's really strange to me. But you know what? That was his interpretation of it was his interpretation of what he thought it was. So it could have been a demon. It could have been Moloch, you know. And maybe he just didn't get that interpretation of it. What's up, Rodriguez? I had orbs in my house. Hang on 1 second, Michael. I'll put my email in. About almost 2 hours. Simone Hamilton beat me to it. Thank you, dear. Did you get it? Good call, big dog. Good call. Good call. You didn't miss a lot. Be safe, my friend. Be safe. Beretta Vandy. I've been thinking about I have that guy on my channel, Storm. I did an interview with him. He had golden skin though, Truth Quest. He had golden skin. Rockin' steady. Have a good night, brother. Be safe. Happy New Year. The late and groundbreaking UFOologist John Keel reported a bizarre possible crash and retrieval case which involved strange characters, perhaps precursors of modern day MIBs. The incident is said to have occurred on an afternoon in May of 1924 in the small town of Gem, West Virginia. A farmer outside of Gem in monster-haunted Braxton County reported seeing an airplane crash in the forest. Planes were a very rare sight in those days, especially in West Virginia, and a crashing plane was big news. According to the farmer, the plane was very odd in that it didn't seem to have wings, didn't make any noise, and seemed unusually large. As big as a battleship is the way the farmer described it. A party of men, including a local sheriff and local newsman, John Cole, systematically searched the woods. Within hours, they found the wreck in a small clearing. According to Cole, we weren't the first ones there, though. There were already 5 or 6 men in the clearing, some of them dressed in black business suits, neckties, and all. And that seemed damn silly in the neck of the woods. Others were dressed in coveralls or a funny color, some kind of shiny material. They were talking in language when we found them. They got real excited when they saw the search party. The men in the coveralls ran into the wreck like they were trying to hide. Some of the men in the search party were carrying guns, and one of them said to Cole, "By God, they're spies." And he raised his gun. The strangers were all small, just a little over 5 feet tall, and they all looked like Orientals, high cheekbones, dark skin, and slanted eyes. One of them spoke English. He told the men nobody was hurt and everybody was all right. He said he would call on the sheriff later to make a complete report. There wasn't much he could do. No crime had been committed. Nobody was hurt. According to Cole, while he was looking around, he spotted a little thingamajig on the ground. He picked it up and decided to keep it. He doesn't know why. He just didn't turn it over to one of the foreigners. He put it in his pocket. They all finally went away, leaving the foreigners to fuss with the contraption. It didn't look like much of a flying machine. In fact, Cole didn't think it could fly at all. It was like a fuselage of a modern plane with windows and all, but it didn't have any wings, tail, or propellers. And like the farmer said, it was mighty big. According to Cole, at least 75 feet long. It filled the whole clearing. He went back home to Weston and went right to bed. He was pretty tired from the long day hiking. At around 3 a.m., somebody started pounding on his door. He got up and looked, and there was an army officer standing there. He was dressed in one of those broad brimmed hats they used to wear with those leg wrappings and all. It was a United States Army uniform, but except for his clothes, he just looked like one of the foreigners from the airplane. Slanted eyes, dark skin, but he was maybe a little taller. You picked up something today, he said. We need it back. Cole was half asleep, and at first he couldn't think what he meant. Then he remembered that metal thingamajig. It was still in his coat pocket. Cole went and got it. Is this what you mean? I asked him. He didn't answer. He just grabbed it and walked off without a word. He didn't seem to have a horse or a car. Cole shuffled back into bed, but how had that supposed officer managed to track him down? A couple of days later, he went back to those woods and found that clearing. It was empty. The grass and bushes were all crushed down where the airplane had been, but there was no sign of anything or anybody. After the army officer came by, Cole figured that maybe it was a secret army deal of some kind, and he thought it was better to leave it alone. 1924 UFO case. Well, Cole wasn't Ingrid Cole. Cole was the guy, the reporter, big dog. Just the name. All right, Tony. I look forward to it. Dogmen are everywhere, Shauna. There's sightings in Hawaii. They literally are everywhere. All over the earth, except Antarctica. Maybe underground in Antarctica, but yeah, it definitely predates that. I think there's one older one about no, that's not. That's like the 50s. About the city of gold under LA. Yeah, it's the 50s. No, they're not coming up from South America. They've been here long before. They're all over the world. What the Paul, what the hell is that? Oh my god, that is fucking great. There's Tyler, you've listened to my channel for a while. There's a bunch of there's a lady that I interviewed from Ohio who had seen dogmen in the water. My buddy Nico's got it. Dogmen under the water. This is the one time that I don't know if the dogmen were benevolent or malevolent. The woman lived, so where their house was, there we go. Fuck. There we go. That's better. So that's gross. So where their house was, they lived up the road from her father-in-law. The father-in-law lived on the river, and he was an avid fisherman, loved to fish. He had a little dock. One night, her husband had seen dogmen out in the woods before. Nothing like nefarious or anything. He had just witnessed them. One night, they found him dead. He was dead in the boat and in the middle of the water, in the middle of the lake or river or whatever the hell it was. I think it was the river. They rowed out to him and they were trying to get his body out of the boat. They were trying to actually get the boat back to shore. But there was a dogman in the water holding the boat still so it wouldn't move. The guy's son saw it, she saw it, and it let go of the boat so they could bring the boat back to the shore. And then it swam back to the other side of the water and was never seen again. So she was thinking that it either gave the dad a heart attack and felt bad and held the boat in place so it didn't go downstream and they would never be able to find him, because it was stationary, like held right stationary in the middle of this body of water. It was just a weird, because like, did it kill him? Like, it didn't attack him, but it could have given him a heart attack because he did have a heart attack. Or did it witness him have a heart attack and realize that the boat would go downstream and stop the boat from going downstream? And Bigfoot, Truth Quest, and Bigfoot with orbs too. The biggest example of Truth Quest, the biggest example is the and I fucking hate saying it too because I say it so many times. The biggest example, the thing that made me realize, so 8 years ago when I started the channel, I literally thought dogmen, Bigfoot, crawlers, and cryptids. I separated everything. I fucking was like, I separated crawler or cryptids, paranormal, UFOs. There were categories, right? And then I got to, research more and read more. And Ronald Murphy Jr. shared his Dogman experience with me, where orbs were seen and a phantom voice was heard that saved his life from being attacked by a dogman. And then 4 years ago, when I read Skinwalkers in the Pentagon, I was like, I to me, it's all connected, because how does this equal out? You have 5 naval intelligence officers investigating the Nimitz Tic Tac UFO. Now, instead of going to the Pentagon, where the department is, they went to Skinwalker Ranch. While at Skinwalker Ranch, they had a sighting of a strange cryptid, not a dogman, but another kind of strange cryptid. After going debriefing there, they all went back to Virginia to their homes, separate homes. From that point on, they were not affected, but their families were affected. Their wives and sons, Axelrod's wife and son, Dogman experience twice, phantom footsteps in the house, shadow figures standing above them, and one of the other naval intelligence officers' wives getting really sick after she had been hit with an orb. So at that point, I was like, holy shit, everything is connected. There is no, and it all falls under this Luciferian agenda. Like, it's all controlled by one entity. Bilderbergs and NWO are just tools of that entity, as well as the cryptid, paranormal, and everything else. Just the Philadelphia experiment is 100% true. The Philadelphia experiment it's essentially part of the Montauk experience. They had to go back in time to go to that boat and turn something off. That was when, what's his name? Duncan Cameron fell into a time slip in 1984. Yeah. Wendigo isn't a cryptid. Wendigo is Native American lore. It's not a cryptid. It's Native American lore. It's a spirit. It's not a cryptid. It's represented by 3 things, which is a mist, a black mist, an emaciated human being, or a large kind of creature that isn't a deer-headed creature at all. It looks like a big abominable snowman almost with a tail, but then shapeshifts again into a mist, just like a skinwalker or the Yinatalush isn't a cryptid either. It's black. It's essentially black magic. Well, it's not a demon. It's not a demon. It's a spirit of the person that was killed by the relative. where my family lives in Hogansburg on the Aquasati Reservation up north here. My cousins all live there. There's a painting depicting the Wendigo in the three stages, and essentially the Wendigo only comes from cannibalism of a family member. Yeah, but a jinn isn't Native American. So how would they get to, you know what I mean? That'd be like saying, because technically Native American is older than jinn, older than Muslim religion, because Muslim religion is the third oldest religion, but Native Americans had practiced spirituality before them. A spirit. No, Drigas was right, Simone. Drigas is right. We depict them. Drigas is right on that. They are neither demon nor, because they are neutral. I had a conversation with a Muslim guy the other day about this, like a week ago, where I asked him about the jinn, and because I said they're demons, right? And he said, no, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Uh, they can be neither good nor bad. The way he described it, I'll have to interview the guy and have him. I'll record how he described it to me, um, because it was very freaking interesting and it was really cool. I bet you do, Andy Davis. For Brian Mons, Puckwudgie. No, Jin isn't human. Some Muslims believe Jin was here even before, like, it was weird how he described it. We that they were here before the creation, like they were here. I'll have him, I'll record him and have him. I know I've heard that interview, Drigas. I literally have like 2,000 uploads just on that, on like Montauk and all of that stuff. But that's a good interview. I'm trying to get freaking James Caspel on my channel. Yeah, he's a buddy of mine, George. He's a good guy. I helped him with one of his Dogman videos. He's a wicked, wicked nice guy. Very smart, very intelligent researcher. That's not true, Zoa. Yeah, Middle East guy gave me a shout out one day. I was like, no way. Yeah, George. I was like, holy shit. Because he asked me for help on something, and I was like, I just told him a couple of things, and then I like did a little bit with him, and then next thing I know, he shouted me out, and I'm like, no way, because I love his channel. His channel is amazing. He's a super cool guy, super smart. I I think there should be more people like him. Middle East Mysteries. What do I think? I think he saw the deep underground facilities. This occurred February 27th, 2017. The night of February 27th, early AM, I was staying at Best Western in Big Bear at approximately 12:35. I walked to my car alone to retrieve my luggage. It had been snowing and was extremely dark. My car was facing the country road. When I hit the unlock button on my car, the parking and interior lights came on. This allowed me to see two eyes reflecting in the middle of the road, about 10 to 15 feet from me. At first, I thought it was a deer. I have lived in Colorado and I am accustomed to seeing wildlife. I instantly stopped and remained still as I didn't want to scare off what I thought was a deer. As my eyes glanced, it looked white, hairless, naked man on all fours. It was at least 4 feet in height on all fours, probably around 15 feet in height if it stood up. There was a brief moment where our eyes made contact. It then, as quickly as I had ever seen any animal, turn around, run as fast as a cheetah away from me, and then straight up into a tree. I was frozen in disbelief and said out loud to myself, "You've got to be flippin' kidding me." Just as I was going to convince myself that this could not possibly be happening, it leapt from the treetop to treetop, and I could see its full outline as it did so. I've never heard such a creature, but I have found some other videos and pictures online that looked exactly like what I saw. The speed and strength it had is like nothing I had ever heard of before. The creature was definitely solid. It appeared as if it was coming toward me, possibly hunting me. I don't know what stopped it. Was it the lights that went on? It had no visible genitalia. It had very human like qualities. First, it was a new moon, and I believe it was an eclipse that day as well. There was a creek across the street. I don't know if that has anything to do with the experience. I was also a day away from menstruating. If this had been a huge gray alien, it would have made more sense. I have heard of those, but this was unlike anything I was familiar with. None of this makes sense. The speed, the agility of this creature, and there shouldn't be any way the treetops should have been able to hold the weight of the creature. It appeared to be flashing like a TV going in and out of reception as it was sprinting up the tree. It also didn't appear to disrupt the foliage as it did so. I immediately called my dad after I rushed back into my hotel room. My son was asleep, and I was understandably in a state of shock. At this time, no one knew what hotel I was staying in. As I was crying on the phone with my dad, the hotel phone rang. I answered it, and it was only a dial tone. Then there was a knock at the hotel door. Once again, no one was there. At this point, my son woke up due to the commotion. I told him it was a scary dream. I gave my dad my hotel information. Wait in the lobby with my son. As we were leaving, there was another knock on the door. It was on the back sliding glass door this time. I had already hung my cell phone up with my dad. This was the one-time encounter, and it's unfortunate that I still live in fear of this experience. I was raised Christian. This humanoid doesn't fit any category I am familiar with. I don't know why this happened and what I'm supposed to learn from it. In addition, the hotel phone number, I found out later, has 6 sixes in a row. I don't know if that has anything to do with what happened. I was also taught that demons can't have physical body unless possessing someone. I can't imagine it flying a spacecraft due to its primal manner? Is it a trans-dimensional being? What was it doing? What was it going to do? Was it coming after me? Why didn't it do what it was set out to do? My previous beliefs on this world and the ways things work were tossed upside down. While it's thought-provoking, it's been very traumatic and has me panic state that's distracting and mostly negative. For the past year or so, I have been investigating sightings on a humanoid in and around Big Bear area, then southeast into Big Morongo Canyon and along Route 62 into Yucca Valley and Joshua Tree. There have been many reports of people going missing in the area for several years, and few body parts have been recovered. There's also been sightings of a winged humanoid in Yucca. It's time, Nicola. We got it, baby. All right, this is the last Lizzo story. Definitely interdimensional. Sean McCabe, what's up, buddy? I'm glad I don't work till 4 to 8. That's a good shift, though, Tyler. That's a good shift, buddy. Hanging in until it dies. All right, Tony. Tony! Last Lizzo story of the year. No, wait. We're doing a live stream on New Year's, so we'll have one for New Year's. Lizzo, queen of the truck stop, goddess of grime and grit, ruler of the grease pit with a voice like thunder and a booty like a tectonic event, had been reigning supreme over the Interstate 5 trucker circuit for years. Her domain, a dusty oasis of diesel fumes, stale coffee, and the occasional backseat romance beneath the flickering sign that read, Big Bertha's Pit Stop. She'd sung karaoke with long haulers, settled disputes over a jerky theft, and once calmed a mutiny after the microwave broke during the prime fry-up hours. But after a decade of diva diplomacy and grease-stained glamour, Lizzo needed a break. I need the mountains, she declared to her devoted boy toy Earl. I need pine trees. I need a hot tub that's not been used to wash truck parts. And I need a vacation where no one asks me to settle a bet about who can eat the spiciest gas station nachos. Earl, a lanky, soft-spoken trucker with eyes so big and brown, they look like melted chocolate truffles. Affectionately dubbed the Big Brown Eye by Lizzo in her hit single, I Love That Earl. He nodded. He had been by her side since the Great Tater Tot Uprising in 19. And if Lizzo said vacation in the woods, Earl drove. So off they went in Earl's 1987 Winnebago. The Thunder Wagon, packed with vegan snacks, glittery robes, and a portable karaoke machine, and a single can of bear spray Lizzo bought for the irony. They rolled deep into the mist-laced forests of Washington, where the trees stood tall like ancient judges, and the air smelled like damp moss and mystery. After 2 days of off-road mishaps, getting stuck behind a family of raccoons having a yard sale, they packed beside the shimmering Alpine Lake, or parked. Far from civilization, no Wi-Fi, no microwaves, just peace and quiet, and the occasional suspicious rustling. Night fell, the moon rose like a disco ball in the sky. Lizzo sipped on some kombucha and belted out Truth Hurts at full volume, her voice echoing through the valley. Earl sat quietly, wearing noise canceling headphones and knitting a tiny sweater for his lucky trucker bobblehead. Earl, baby, Lizzo purred. This is paradise. No one knows we're here. No one else can bother us. It's just you, me, and the stars, and crack! A branch snapped, then another. Then the entire forest seemed to inhale. From the shadows stepped a creature so massive, so shaggy, so smelly, that even the mosquitoes backed off. It was Bigfoot. But not just any Bigfoot. This was super horny Bigfoot. Lizzo froze mid-chorus. The beast stood at least 9 feet tall, muscles rippling beneath the coat of matted brown fur. His eyes glowed like ember headlights. In one hand, he held a smashed trail guide, in the other, a half-eaten energy bar. And from his loincloth, apparently Bigfoot shops at REI now, something poked out with an alarming enthusiasm. Lizzo, ever the professional flirt, adjusted her crown, a rhinestone trucker's hat, and smirked. Well, well, Lizzo drawled. If it isn't the legend himself, come to pay homage to your queen? Bigfoot tilted his head, sniffed the air, then with a low guttural ooh, pointed, not to Lizzo, but directly at Earl. Earl blinked. Me? Bigfoot grunted, stomping his foot like a shy prom date, and let out a sound somewhere between a love song. Lizzo smiled, faltered. Wait, you're not here for me? Another grunt, a nod, a blush. Yes, Bigfoot blushed. His neck fur turned a lovely shade of puce. He wants Earl, Lizzo whispered. Earl clutching his knitting needle. I don't want him. Bigfoot took a step forward, then another. He reached out a massive hand and gently, ever so gently, patted Earl's shoulder like a man trying to ask for a dance at the 70s roller rink. Lizzo stood up, her hands on her hips. Back up, furball. That's my trucker. That big brown eye is off limits. Bigfoot paused, looking at Lizzo and to Earl, then let out a flustered growl and gestured towards Earl's posterior with his index finger. Oh no! You want his booty hole, Lizzo gasped. Sweet buttered corn, you're not just horny, you're specific. Earl buried his face in his hands. I knew I should have worn tighter jeans. Bigfoot, determined, dropped to one knee and produced a flower from his loincloth, a wilted daisy, and a tiny hand-carved wooden flute, which he played a clumsy rendition of Careless Whisper. A serenade was intense, sad, and slightly terrifying. Lizzo had had enough, though. Nope, she declared, stepping between Earl and the enormous ape. You don't serenade my man with your flutes and your backwoods bouquet and then expect a happy ending. Earl's taken. He's emotionally monogamous, and he's allergic to fur. Bigfoot growled, insulted, picked up a tree stump and hurled it into the lake like a discus champion on steroids. Lizzo unfurled her secret weapon, a glitter cannon disguised as a bottle of hairspray. You want war? She boomed. Then you got one. The great Washington Woods Bigfoot War began at night. Lizzo charged first, spraying glitter with the precision of a sniper. The shimmer of Bigfoot's fur, making him sparkle like a rejected Christmas tree. He roared, blinded by the sparkle, and slipped on a banana peel Lizzo had strategically placed earlier. She always carried snacks and traps. Earl, inspired, grabbed the karaoke mic and blasted good as hell at full volume. The sonic boom sent the birds fleeing and made Bigfoot's ears flap like a startled sail. You're not the only one with moves, Lizzo yelled, lurching into a twerk so powerful it triggered a minor landslide. Bigfoot staggered, disoriented by the glitter, the music, and the sheer confidence radiating from Lizzo's aura and ass. He tried to lunge, but Lizzo dodged, pulling out her backup weapon, a flamethrower shaped like a hairdryer, rated #1 for volume and intimidation. Try me, Furface, she shrieked, blasting warm air into his face. You think you can just waltz out of the woods and expect a happy ending? This truck stop queen don't play that. Bigfoot, now half blind, covered in glitter, and emotionally devastated, let out a mournful howl. He stood there, a tragic figure of loneliness and poor romantic timing. Lizzo paused, her heart a fierce golden thing fluttered in sympathy. Look, she said gently, lowering her hairdryer. I get it. You're out here alone with all these feelings and no one to share your flute music with. But you just can't be going grabbing truckers' booties without consent. It's illegal in 49 states and morally bankrupt in 50. Bigfoot sniffled. A single, glittery tear rolled down his furry cheek. Lizzo sighed. Tell you what, I'll make you a mixtape. A little Marvin Gaye, some D'Angelo, maybe some Lizzo. And I'll include a glittery condom, just in case you meet someone smaller. Bigfoot wiped his eyes and nodded solemnly. Earl, still shaken, offered him a vegan protein bar. Here, for the road. With a final respectful bow, Bigfoot turned and lumbered back into the woods. The sound of juice faintly echoing from the portable speaker Lizzo tossed after him in a peaceful offering. As dawn broke over the pines, Lizzo and Earl sat side by side, wrapped in a fuzzy blanket. You saved my booty hole, Earl said softly. And your big brown eye, Lizzo replied, kissing his temple. But let's be real, that Bigfoot had issues. We should just start a support group, Sasquatch Seduction Anonymous, Earl chuckled. You're amazing, he grinned. I do. Now pass me the glitter cannon. I think I started a reality show, Truck Stop Royalty, Wilderness Edition. Ratings will be legendary. And as the sun rose over the Washington woods, the legend of Lizzo's triumphant spread through the Hush Trucker CB radios, cryptid forums, and one very viral TikTok video when Bigfoot wants your man's booty. The Queen had returned, not just from vacation. Thank you, Hollow. I don't know, Shauna. I've never heard of that movie. Mimics are something. I don't think they're crawlers though. But I wouldn't classify a movie like a documentary. You know what I mean? It's like almost a soft disclosure would be the best way to put it. Thank you, DB Mac. Oh. Well, you know, when Tom Castiello, the security guard from Dulce, New Mexico, from the base, when he was talking about level 6, he talked about a large, hairy humanoid that could mimic human voices and cry like a baby. So I'm not sure if what it is, you know. I mean, there's shit out there that we do not know. Delirium, have a good night. Thank you for everything, my friend. You're always in my prayers. You know that. Definitely. Definitely more than we don't know. All right. Our two last experiences for the night. This experience was told to me by my uncle, and he swears that it happened. He was the only one in the family this happened to, so no one else can back his story up. I don't know if I believe this myself. In 1979, there was a 12-year long civil war in El Salvador. My uncle was in the military. He was sent into the woods/jungle with 6 other guys to go and look for a militia group that was supposedly camping out there. After walking into the woods/jungle for hours, they suddenly felt the ground shake as if something big was coming toward them. He described it like Jurassic Park when T-Rex was coming toward them and the water rippled. He said they thought it was the enemy doing something, so they hid. He said that he was shocked when he saw that it was a giant. He said it was walking in the distance. I asked him if it was just maybe a really big person or a Bigfoot, and he said no, it was more like Jack in the Beanstalk kind of giant. He said there were trees blocking the view somewhat, but that he could make out that it was a really large human being. He said that it was as tall as the tallest tree there. He said he tried to get a good look at it, but he was too terrified and did not want to get out of his hiding spot when he realized exactly what it was. He states the giant basically just walked past them. They were all terrified and waited there for a while as they were scared to bump into one another. He said 2 of the guys suggested trying to go kill it and get rich, but the guy in charge told him to stand down. My uncle said everyone thought they were idiots for suggesting such a thing. He said they walked back to base as quickly and as quietly as possible. They told everyone when they got back, and no one believed them. They were friends with the pilots, and the pilots called all the time and would have seen such a creature, especially if it was as tall as the trees. He said all the guys described what they saw. One guy claimed that it appeared to be balding. Another guy said he thinks that it had some sort of loincloth like Tarzan. My uncle emphasized that he didn't get a great look, and all he knows is that the ground was shaking as if some really big creature was coming toward them. He saw what appeared as a giant humanoid walking in the distance, got down and hid, and waited for it to be gone. So I asked him things like, if it was real, don't you think they would have found a body or some bones or something? Especially since El Salvador is tiny in relation to other parts of the world. He responded along the lines of, I don't know about none of that stuff. I just know what I saw that day. I don't know how I feel about this personally. This one seems to be out there. My mom said maybe it was some sort of spirit that just made itself appear as a giant to scare them. During the Civil War times, my mom claims there was a lot of paranormal things going on because of all the deaths that were happening. A lot of innocent people were being killed. My grandma would say if you looked out the window of your house, you would see dead bodies in the street. That wouldn't explain the ground shaking. Anyway, thank you for allowing me to share. Oh. Mr. Haunted still in here? I just texted him. He's texting me back. What's up, guitar? All right, last one here. This account is not my own, but it was told to me by a Marine doing combat tours in Afghanistan. For the sake of his job and security clearance, he has asked me that I not give any names and never mention what region they were operating in. From my understanding, the individuals who were with him during this encounter were from a task force operating under orders of the CIA. Beyond that, I was told next to nothing. Anyway, we'll just call him S. Anyway, here is his experience. During a patrol checking on some local farmers, S's unit was made aware of a deadly being living in a cave system near the farms. When pushed for more information, the locals were only willing to say this being was stealing from their farms and had killed a few people who had made the mistake of trying to protect their livelihood from it. Convinced the locals were being harassed by a group of Taliban fighters, half of S's unit was sent out to investigate and either arrest or kill any hostile forces in the area. So, with a few Humvees armed with M2 machine guns, they went into this caved area where this mysterious being supposedly lived. Upon arriving, they noticed nothing of interest. There were signs that something was living in the cave, and the soldiers found animal bones scattered around the entry. Not wanting to risk his entire unit fighting in the cave that the enemy would have known very well, S sent two of his fastest Marines to look. The two just gave the orders a cocky grin and thumbs up before disappearing into the darkness beyond the mouth of the cave. For 10 minutes, there was nothing, not a single sound in or out of the cave other than idle chatter from the bored Marines. Then sound erupted from the caves, shouting and screaming. In a matter of seconds, the two men emerged from the cave in a full sprint, zipped past their teammates, one of them shouting, "Run, just run." But, like the hard-ass SF operators they were, the other soldiers stood their ground only to see a massive man emerge from the cave. He stood nearly 17 feet tall, leathery skin, and red hair. In one of his massive hands was a log that he began waving around. Shocked but not panicked, S commanded the men to shoot, and 12 of the Marines opened fire. But the bullets seemed to do little except piss it off. Finally, in desperation, one of them shot a grenade launcher, blowing out a massive chunk of its flesh, exposing a small portion of its ribs and ripping skin. The giant then retreated into the cave, and the soldiers decided that the best thing to do was head back to the village and report to the rest of the unit. Clearly, this was more than a few Taliban militia. Even with the gaping wound, the creature was too terrifying for the Marines to go walking into that cave. So they headed back and reported to their CO. Of course, their boss didn't believe them and demanded to see proof. So that night, they drove him out to the cave and showed him some of the shredded flesh that had been taken off by the grenade launcher. From here, the report went up the chain, and nobody knows what happened about this. I wish he would have told me more. Maybe we can find the answers someday. I do know this was not the giant that was taken down by a group of special forces and hauled off in a helicopter. Different area in the Middle East. Anyway, that's about all I know. Thanks, guys. All right. Guys, I'll see you New Year's Eve. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you, Damage. I'll see you all on, what is it? Wednesday night at 11. Wednesday night at 11. We'll do live stream from 11 to 1. So we'll bring in the new year together. All right. Love you guys. See you Wednesday night. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight and making this Saturday special. Last Saturday live stream of the year, baby. Love you all.